Huge troubles waiting for Ellen DeGeneres. Everyone knew who Ellen DeGeneres was. She's one of the most well-known TV hosts and comedians in the country. Everyone liked to be her friend. Everybody wanted to be in her show. Children adored her. The LGBTQ community admired her. In short, she's deeply loved by every person on the planet. She used her influence to make a difference in other people's lives. She used her show to inspire more people. Her connections became the bridge to reach out to anyone who dreamed of becoming big. She's generous, kind, and always ready to help. In her show, she danced, laughed, and was always giving her audience a memorable life experience. She seemed fun to be around with. However, many were disappointed when shocking news surfaced about her. Ellen was not as fun as she was on TV. She was not even that kind. Several of her employees, former and current, were saying that she created a toxic working environment for all of them. She's the total opposite of the person she displayed on TV. They claim they were fired after taking medical leave, bereavement days, and even attending a family funeral. One former employee resigned immediately from her job because of the constant discrimination and comments about her race. All people who worked for Ellen were prohibited from approaching her and talking to her when she was in the office. There were people who said that the executive producers and senior managers should be blamed for this kind of workplace culture because they allowed it and tolerated it, but many disagreed. One employee said that Ellen should be at fault because it was her name in the show and she should be accountable for all the negative energies she often exhibited toward her employees. After the serious allegation came out, the Ellen DeGeneres show was never the same again. People never looked at Ellen the same way again, and after 19 seasons, the show ended for good. Ellen might benefit from stepping away from the spotlight for the time being. People kept slamming her. They felt betrayed. Some were hurt because Ellen was not the person they expected her to be. They really thought that she was the nicest celebrity. But more and more outrageous stories kept popping up about her. If everything her employees have said is true, then karma is not done with Ellen yet. It looked like Ellen's employees were not the only ones who had witnessed her awful attitude. Even her guests on the show and other celebrities had piped in with their own stories. Grayson Chance shared his horrible experience with Ellen at an early age. He was invited to the Ellen DeGeneres show after his video went viral. He caught the attention of Ellen because his own rendition of Lady Gaga's Paparazzi was so impressive that everyone should hear it. He recently came forward to tell his side of the story and the reason for their fallout. Charlie Puth was also ready to jump into his defense. As we all know, Ellen was famous for bringing in people who went viral on the internet. She would invite them to her show and get to know them more. She set the stage for them. She loved inviting fan favorites back to the set and, in a way, profiting from them. It was clear to everyone that Ellen wanted to be the reason why they all became famous, and Grayson Chance was given a chance to make it big. Let's have a quick rundown of Ellen and Grayson's relationship. Grayson went viral in 2010 and got invited to her show. A few months later, he became the first artist to sign with Ellen's new recording label, 1111. He was only 12 years old, far too young to fully understand what he had gotten himself into, but this is his shot at fame. Recently, in an interview with Rolling Stone, Grayson claimed that Ellen was the most manipulative, opportunistic, and self-centered person he had ever met. Ellen dreamed that Grayson would be a big singing sensation, but according to him, Ellen was domineering and controlling. She then completely abandoned him when his music was not doing well. He felt bad, especially considering his young age, and it really made an impact. He created a TikTok account where he shared with all his fans what had happened. In his post,
I've been wanting to tell this story now for multiple years and was repeatedly told not to. But the truth is what you saw on TV and what was sort of pitched out, to the mainstream just wasn't what was happening behind the scenes. And I think now that I'm 25 and I'm older, I can recognize that what happened to me as a kid was not cool, it was not okay. And I've had to wrestle with so much of that PTSD and so much of that trauma as I've been growing up as a musician and as I've been fighting in the industry to continue to make music and to still do this. And I'm sure people will have a lot to say about the article and how I maybe appear ungrateful for her efforts in the beginning. And the truth is that I am grateful for her giving me a start, but I'm more grateful to myself for the moments when I got dropped and everything went awry when I was a kid. I'm thankful to 15-year-old me that picked up the pieces and kept on going and kept on fighting. And the last thing I will say is I am so continuously inspired by people that tell the truth and that muster up the bravery to tell the truth when it is difficult, when it's non-convenient, and when it's painstaking. That's why I did this.
Grayson also opened up about what Ellen wanted him to be. She wanted Grayson to be like Justin Bieber. Usher did this, so it was not impossible for Ellen to create her own pop icon. She liked to try to make a name for herself in the music industry. She hired prominent and high-caliber managers and publicists, and within months of signing with Ellen's record label, he had released his own EP and was set to go on tour. At such a young age, he was already on his way to becoming the next pop star. But this isn't what happened. Grayson also opened up about the way Ellen treated his mom. He vividly remembered the time when Ellen was so mad at him for not watching Justin Bieber's documentary. He admitted that he was exhausted from his shows and that watching anything was not on his list of priorities. Ellen just got an advance copy of the Never Say Never documentary about Justin, and she instructed him to watch it. But he didn't, so Ellen called his mom and berated her. Grayson recalled how angry Ellen was, and all he could hear at the other end of the phone was her yelling and criticizing his mom. For Ellen, they did not acknowledge her hard work or how far she was willing to go for Grayson. All Ellen wanted was for Grayson to watch a documentary, study Justin, and plainly admire him. Unfortunately, Grayson's career did not take off as successfully as they had all hoped. Obviously, Ellen was not thrilled about this, so she chose to cut and run. She disappeared from sight like he did not matter. She was only thinking of herself and completely disregarded Grayson's feelings and welfare. In the Rolling Stone article, Chance narrated that when his music started to underperform and ticket sales dropped in 2012, Ellen disappeared. She once promised him and his family that the world was nowhere to be seen. When his second project on Ellen's label was doing poorly, she completely abandoned him. Interscope has also cut ties with him and pulled out his agent, publicist, and management team. Grayson was left all alone and probably had no idea what just happened. He tried calling Ellen, but she never responded. Grayson said that he had never been invited back to the show several times after 2012, and every time he was there, he felt that Ellen was not comfortable giving him a fake smile. She didn't even ask him how he was doing or how he was holding up. It seemed like they did not know each other or had history together. Ellen would just tell him what they were going to talk about, and that's it. Now, this article had caught the attention of Charlie Puth, and he was now ready to speak his truth. In an episode of the Rolling Stone Music Now podcast, Charlie shared his own experience with Ellen's record label 1111. According to him, he had gone through some of the things Grayson had, especially the part where Ellen completely disappeared. Since 2009, Charlie had been posting videos of him doing covers by different artists. He and his friend Emily went viral for their cover of Adele's song Someone Like You. And because they went viral, Ellen naturally invited them to their show. They signed with Ellen's recording label in 2011, but in 2012, after he recorded his EP, the label was shut down. He also said that Ellen had always treated him well, so he couldn't comment when people saying she's difficult to work with. He clarified that he did not entirely blame Ellen for shutting down the label. He knew that it was a collective decision of many people, and he was just sad that all of them had disappeared without really telling him the real situation. People were now starting to bash Ellen for being too obsessed with money. The way she treated people would depend on how much she could profit from them. If they would not serve her well, she was not going to waste her time and money on them. Well, this is pretty common in the industry. For sure, Ellen was not the first to treat artists this way. When artists are no longer profitable and are losing their shine, record labels and managers are quick to drop them. They would not give them a chance to redeem themselves because there are other talented individuals out there waiting to be discovered. This is the sad and ugly truth about the industry. But what's wrong is using and exploiting kids and their talents to make more money. They may not understand how the world works yet, but they have feelings. It's not acceptable that someone could just abandon them when they are not able to meet the high expectations in the industry. How hard is it to call them out, have a conversation with them, and tell them honestly about the situation? It's hard to give bad news, but this is better than leaving them without any idea what they did wrong. It would really take a toll on someone's mental health. It's understandable that Ellen had to let Grayson go because he wasn't bringing in any money for her, but she should have treated him better. He was so young then, and he probably did it for his mom's sake or for fun. She didn't need to hurt his feelings and abandon him. The way she treated Grayson's mom was just rude. This is why it's not hard for people to believe that Ellen was horrible to her employees. When the news came out about her toxic behavior towards her subordinates, people were shocked because they always see her being super nice and kind on TV. Her rude behavior disappoints a lot of her fans. They really thought that she was better than Oprah. Boy, were they wrong. What do you think about Ellen DeGeneres? Do you believe any of the allegations against her? Let me know your thoughts. Stay tuned for more videos and get updated on what's happening in Hollywood. Are you not entertained? If you are, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.